We have waited patiently to drop our NFL mock draft, but now is the time with the NFL draft closing. I am Matt Hicks, the FF educator, joined by Anthony Corrente for a NFL mock draft. We're going to approach this what we would do, but through a realistic lens here. There will be trades, there will be tomfoolery, but there will also be some pretty good analysis along the way. I'll take the odds. Anthony's going to take the evens. Any final words before we jump into this 100% accurate NFL mock draft?
I'm glad you qualified like what we would do, but like realistic, so we don't just take 32 offensive players, right, and just talk about fantasy impact.
Yes, this is a fantasy football channel, but we follow the draft. We have an understanding of team needs, so we're not going to be overly biased. But there is just a natural lean towards the fantasy players this year. So we'll talk landing spots along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's get it out of the way early here. No need to get cute with the first pick. We will go with Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears. We're going to pair him up with Keenan Allen. We're going to pair him up with DJ Allen or DJ Moore. And then we're going to maybe pair him up with somebody at pick 9, but we're not there yet. First, we're going to see what the Washington Commanders are going to do with that second overall pick. That's all you, Ant.
Yeah, we're gonna keep the quarterback run going fast and furious. I'm going Drake May at 2.
Okay.
I know there's been some steam for the other guys, but to me, Drake May is still the second best quarterback in this draft. And I think Washington would be happy to have him. So Drake May is the pick for me at 2.
All right, I love to see it. I do think, if I had to put money on it at this point in time, I do think that's what's going to happen. A little bit of prospect fatigue, I think, with Drake May. Now,
Agreed.
I think New England's going to have, I think they're going to have the phone lines open. I think they're going to be interested in taking offers for this pick. And I do think JJ McCarthy is a legitimate consideration at this point, but I'm not sure that he's going to be able to be the guy that gets taken here over LSU's Jaden Daniels. So we're going to go ahead and take him off the board. Quarterback. And that does at this point, it feels like the chalk take.
Yeah, I know, right? And then 4 is kind of like
This is the
4.
spot.
Yeah, this is the spot. It's like, does Arizona trade out or do they stick and pick? I feel like we've done the trade out thing a lot. So I'm just gonna
Oh,
I'm
he's going vanilla.
what trade out? Who's looking to come up? Who's looking to come up? How far back do we have to go?
I think the Giants are an underrated trade up candidate. I think if Daniels had made it to 4, I
Hmm.
think they'd be a little bit more motivated to do that.
Do
You
you
have
think they come up 2
Denver, you have
spots for
Vegas.
do you think the Giants come up 2 spots for McCarthy?
Not for not for McCarthy. No, I don't think they do.
All right. All right. Well, I'm going to stay chalk here, and I'm going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. for the
Okay.
Cardinals. I don't know that a team needs a wide receiver as bad as Arizona needs a wide receiver. Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Arizona Cardinals walks into like 160 target, like minimum from Kyler Murray next year. Like there's nobody else that's really, really noteworthy on that roster right now. So let's give Kyler a big time weapon and have him run around and chuck the ball downfield to Marv. I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Now, I do think the Chargers are going to be looking to pick to slide back from this spot. Folks, I cannot emphasize this enough. We would love to see your comments here on the YouTube channel. We would love if you give us a like, have a back and forth, subscribe to the channel, get in on the Discord. But I got to tell you, if you drop a comment on this video and tell me that I should have drafted a wide receiver here at 5, folks, you're dreaming. You're dreaming. They're not doing it.
It's simply not going to happen.
It's simply not gonna.
Have you ever met Harbaugh?
Right.
I mean, I haven't met him, but I know him through TV.
I've met the guy. I've never met the guy, but I've met the guy. And he's not drafted a wide receiver here. So I think it's either for me offensive lineman or trade back. And
Mhm.
I feel like we've played out the Minnesota trades up scenario every single time. So I kind of just want to play the scenario here where Harbaugh sits tight, where he sits here and takes a tackle because I think it's well within the realm of possibility. So I'm going to go Joe Alt. I'm going to stick and pick here with Harbaugh.
I think it's way more possible than people want to admit.
Right.
Like, I know that they're a total like candidate to trade out, and they're absolutely not picking a wide receiver there. Like, I will be floored if they take a wide receiver there. And I could see Harbaugh being just enamored with Joe Alt. So I like that.
All right. Brings
6,
us
I'm
to the Giants. Yeah.
I'm taking JJ McCarthy at
There
6.
you go. Good man.
I'm doing it. I think that the Giants will be thrilled if JJ McCarthy falls to 6. I really do. Um, they need a long-term answer at quarterback. It's probably not Daniel Jones at this point, but you at least have the luxury of, hey, maybe DJ's out there to start, maybe Drew Lock's out there to start, maybe you don't got to throw McCarthy out there right away. Still more to add there, but I think the Giants would be happy if JJ McCarthy makes it to them at 6.
As a Giants fan, I would be absolutely enthused if JJ McCarthy goes to them at 6. As a JJ McCarthy fan, terrified. Absolutely terrified. I don't think it's the best thing for JJ McCarthy, especially for going to cross reference here with some fantasy analysis. Minnesota would be much better, but I don't think if any of the top 4 quarterbacks are on the board, I don't think the Giants would let them pass by them at 6. And I think it's more of a possibility than we're actually yielding airtime to. But that does bring us to 7 here. A little bit of a wrench in the plan because Joe Alt to Tennessee at 7, I think makes a lot of sense. I do think the Titans would be interested in trading back here. And can you think of a team that's willing to come up? I'm thinking Neighbors, a team that might be willing to come up, move up a few spots to get him.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I could see, man, I could see like all the 3 teams right behind them, I think would love if Neighbors made it to them. So it's not like a big trade back. Like I think the Jets would love to come from 10 to 7 for Neighbors if they could afford it. The problem is they don't have a second round pick. Right.
Right.
So
So
it makes it
that's going to
kind
be
of
tough
difficult to
ammo
make it
to go ahead
happen.
with.
What about the Bears? Can we get the Bears to have Malik Neighbors? That way they have Malik Neighbors, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore and just go crazy. What
Yeah,
uh what picks are the Bears working with here?
all right, let's pull it up here. The Chicago Bears, we got 975. Is 75, I
Oh
don't think is enough, is it?
no, I think
Like a
I mean,
like a
they're only
future
going back 2
4?
spots, but can can we move up 2 spots for 75 and yeah, like a future 3 or a future 4, something like that?
I think a future 4 could get it done.
Yeah.
I think
And
we're
then
gonna go ahead and make this happen here.
Chicago just says we're gonna go the anti Justin Fields route and just give Caleb all the weapons from day one.
All right, so we're gonna have Chicago come up here and make this pick. We did it going for Malik Neighbors, right? That was the
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors off the board there at 107. So we have Caleb Williams paired up with Malik Neighbors, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore. That's supporting your young quarterback here, folks. That would be an absolute dream. A little money for fantasy purposes, but an absolute dream for Caleb Williams in the Chicago Bears. Which brings us up to 8 with Atlanta. Perhaps we see the first defensive player come off the board.
Yeah, this is the spot where it feels most likely. There's a part of me that wants to like stack another wide receiver there too, like somebody across from London, and then bump Darnell Mooney down to wide receiver 3. But I think that they might be the Dallas Turner team. Like I think
Okay.
that they might be the team that takes the first defensive player, and it wouldn't shock me if it's Dallas Turner. I think that he could be what Raheem Morris is looking for off the edge just from a speed perspective and give them kind of what they lack right there right now.
If we
So,
just keep mock drafting edges to Atlanta, at some point, some year, they'll have to take
yeah,
one.
they're gonna take we'll be right eventually. Like
But
it's just an odds thing.
it's simply statistics, folks. It is just simply statistics. Now, I know this seems a little unhinged, and I know your Jets fandom might get in the way here, but could Tennessee trade back again? And I'm looking at Denver at 12, but really Cincinnati at 18 to come up to get Brock Bowers. Hear me out here.
I would love the fit for Cincinnati to come up to 9 and get Brock Bowers. So let's see what it's gonna cost them.
Yeah, let's see if it's realistic here. I
Because
mean,
he doesn't make it to them like
right.
organically. Like because I think the floor is like 15. Like I don't think he makes it past the Colts.
Right. I think 18, 49, 97, that feels like enough. I think
Yeah, probably.
yeah,
Probably.
if anything, Tennessee might even have to send back like a 6 or something,
I
but
think for 1849, yeah, 9 for 1849 and 97, and Tennessee goes back to the range where they probably still get a pretty good offensive lineman at 18.
yeah, it's a deep class, so they can get away with this. I'm not sitting here trying to make this work for the Tennessee Titans, but I think they could come back and get a whole lot of draft capital here.
Yeah.
So we have Cincinnati coming up to take Brock Bowers. I think it's a really perfect fit. Everyone's talking about what's the Tyler Boyd replacement. Is it just Brock Bowers this whole
It might
time?
be. It
I
really might be.
I love it. I did not go into this draft expecting that to happen, but I like the way it worked out. I think the Jets would be a little bummed if Brock Bowers goes off the board in front of them, but still plenty of offensive tackles, right?
I think they'd be upset if Brock Bowers would go, but I think in this scenario, I think they'd sprint the card in for Rome. I
Oh, they're
think
gonna go Rome.
I think the closer we get to draft day, I think it feels more and more like they have injury questions on the offensive line, but I think they feel like they'll address depth somewhere else, and that how do we get somebody else that can impact day one, and then hedge the bet against Mike Williams being ready for week one. So pair Rome with Garrett Wilson long term. I like it.
I like that too. I gotta tell you, man, I haven't gotten to this scenario with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. Uh
This is a
yeah.
tough spot. I mean, I think they'd be looking to get out of this spot. We're not going quarterback here, folks. We're not doing it.
The
We're
good
not.
news is with 2 first round picks, they could build around Sam Darnold. So we got they got options.
I mean, it's too early, I think, to pull. I mean, they don't need any more offensive weapons. Do we go like line? Do we
I could
go?
see it. Like,
I'm feeling, is this just the best player available, like a
I
Quinyon
think
Mitchell? Do
so.
they go for a Fuaga? I could
Yeah.
even see them going for Latu, but it's not really a position of need.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see them being an O-line team.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see them being like the Fuaga team.
we'll go for it. I mean, it's really hard to overdraft offensive linemen here.
Yeah. They'd
But
obviously be bummed on all the
yeah,
quarterbacks going ahead of them and them not being able to get up for one.
they lose out for sure in this situation here.
Yeah.
A
The
lot of Minnesota fans in the Discord. Don't watch this video,
Yeah,
please. I'm
just
so
skip.
sorry.
Maybe it'll be better at pick 23, you know?
Uh, uh, If you do want to hop in, though, talk about the NFL draft daily with us and hop in the Rookie Big Board Discord, as well as get in on some of our fantasy football specific content rankings, one-on-one roster strategy calls, our 2024 rookie guide. All of that's available over at patreon.com/rookie big board. Look at that. Slid in the pitch, slid it in real quick, just to give you a little bit more time to think about what idiotic move Sean Payton will probably make this time.
That's what I was just gonna say. This is like the total unhinged pick. Like, trying to predict this pick is crazy. Like, because what I would do and what Sean Payton would do are almost definitively not the same thing, right? Like, uh, man, I gotta tell you, I think that if I was them,
Don't do it.
I wouldn't take I wouldn't take a quarterback here.
Okay. I thought
I
that's where you were going.
I think they would. I think Sean Payton is just crazy enough to be like, I'll make it work with Bo Nix.
He can make it work in 30 picks with Bo Nix.
He's not a rational person.
Oh,
What
my
I would
God.
do here is I would take Brian Thomas Jr. here, and I would pair
Oh.
Brian Thomas Jr. with Marvin Mims. Still have Cortland Sutton there. You move Jerry Jeudy in the trade. Sutton's probably not there long term. Brian Thomas Jr. gives you that real size speed threat on the outside to pair with Marvin Mims long term. I have a hard time thinking that the NFL lets Brian Thomas Jr. fall out of like the top half of round one. I don't see it. I think too big, too fast, scores way too many long touchdowns for the league to let him slip too far.
Wow. Yeah, that is literally the Sean Payton level of unhinged. Like who's throwing the ball to Brian Thomas? I don't know, running downfield.
Jarrett Stidham, man.
Jared, we'll get there. We'll figure that out later. All right. I think Las Vegas is absolutely not drafting Michael Penix Jr. I'm sorry, folks. It's not happening. I do think they'll take Olu Fashanu, though. You got to get some offensive line reinforcement. I think they will address quarterback in this draft. I just don't think they're going to do it in the first round. And that will take us to New Orleans at pick 14, getting into the meat of the first round here.
Yeah, this is where we're in like that interesting range, right? We're out of like the top 8, 9, 10 picks where it's like we talk about the same names and just kind of switch up the order every once in a while. I could see New Orleans going defense. Like I could see it being a D-line pick. To
Mm.
me, it's like, I could see it being one of like the two big D tackles, either Byron Murphy or Jerzon Newton. I'm
Feels
gonna go Byron Murphy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna go Byron Murphy here. I think that screams like a Saints pick
That's
to
such a
me.
Saints selection, man.
Yeah, like
It's
just build up the D line. They got to take their medicine with Carr for a little longer. So, maybe add another weapon or two later. But I like Byron Murphy there at 14.
Yeah, I would love to give Anthony Richardson another weapon here at 15 for the Colts, but I don't think we have to do it now. I think we can wait a little bit longer. I'm going to go Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. Crushed it at the Senior Bowl, great athletic testing. There seems to be no hesitations about level of competition. So, first defensive back off the board here at 15.
Yeah, yeah, I like that for Indianapolis. All right, 16 with the Seahawks. This is super easy to me. It's Troy Fontenot. I think that the
Nice.
Seahawks would love his position flexibility, can play guard, can play tackle, just add another good offensive lineman. But can't have too many of them. I think they'd be thrilled to get him at 16.
All right, Jaguars up here. I do think they need some legitimate reinforcement inside. I think Graham Barton is actually probably in the conversation here as a guy who can play inside for them. But I'm going to go Terry and Arnold. 17 feels like just a little bit too far down board for Terry and Arnold. I think this is where we'll start to see a run on those defensive backs. Now, this brings us up to Tennessee, who's this is their first selection here at pick 18. Remember, we had them trade down twice in offensive line. Still absolutely
This
within range. Some
I
really
think
good
that they would
players.
be happy with their decision to move down.
Yeah.
I just wonder, which offensive lineman it would be for them.
Hmm.
I'm gonna take JC Latham here.
Okay.
I think that he's another one that, not comparing him exactly, but like kind of like Mekhi Becton. Like I think the league will talk themselves into like too big, too freaky, like swing on the upside. And at 18, you feel way better about it than you do as like a top 10 pick. So I think Latham there and adding all the other picks they added, they'd be pretty happy about.
I do. I absolutely agree. Now you start to dream with the Rams. You start to dream about what wide receiver could we
Oh man.
just force into that offense, right? Is Lad McConkey the next Cooper Cup? You could write the articles now, right? you, you could do it. You could absolutely do it, folks. I'm not going to do that though. I think that Sean McVay is going to like Liatu Latu. I
Mm,
think you talk about just freaky athleticism. He doesn't. I think he's going to cringe. He's going to have to, take a big, deep breath before drafting a defensive player. But I think he would like Latu a ton. And I think the upside at 19,
yeah.
some really nice return there.
There is not a player more in their pass rush bag than Latu in this
Yeah,
draft.
right.
Like just moves on moves. Like he gets it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Steelers
Pittsburgh
are
here.
Steelers are interesting, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
the quarterback room has totally changed. So now we have Russ and Justin Fields. So we'll figure that out there. O-line's always in consideration. I wonder though, no Deontay Johnson. You have
Ah,
you
ah,
have Pickens.
ah.
Uh, you know, I'm gonna make a pick for the brand here, and I'm gonna take AD Mitchell.
80.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
I thought you were
take
going to go
AD
a different
Mitchell.
Texas wide receiver.
I'm gonna take AD Mitchell at 20. Maybe a little rich, but I don't know. I think after that huge combine, he's played himself into, back half a round one consideration at as a possibility. And Pairing him with Pickens, like I don't. It's an all boomer bust wide receiver room there. Like everything could go swimmingly, but who knows? So I'll take AD Mitchell at 20.
All right, that's going to give a reunion, I believe, between Pickens
Yeah,
and AD Mitchell, who were
couple
teammates
Georgia
at
guys.
Georgia. Yeah, a couple Georgia guys there. Yeah, imagine spending some time together in Athens, Georgia, enjoying that weather, and then the next time you see each other is in Pittsburgh, which is a beautiful city. I absolutely love it. But it's just a bit colder than Athens, Georgia. Miami here. I think Miami's a trade back candidate.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's anybody on the board you feel like a team would want to trade up for at this point in time. Unless it's a wide receiver, you know, a team wanting to come up for like a Xavier Worthy.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
could
down
see.
board. I don't know like who's gonna feel that
Well,
urgency.
hey, I mean, Buffalo might need to come up for a receiver, right? Like, are we just doing the Curtis Samuel Khalil Shakir? No disrespect, we love Khalil Shakir, and we like Curtis Samuel. We don't love him the way we love Khalil Shakir, but
Do you think they feel the pressure at this point? So on the board, I would say legitimate Xavier Worthy, um, a Troy Franklin, if you want to consider Lad McConkey. Like, do you feel like they feel that pressure to come up? I mean, it's 7 picks. They probably wouldn't have to like overpay.
yeah, and I guess I mean, is there anybody like in front of them that they're super worried about, like the real run happening? I guess it comes down to like, do they covet the speed of? I think it would be like Franklin or Worthy,
Yeah.
right? Like
I
those are the
mean,
two to me that you consider coming up for.
Arizona could double dip,
They
absolutely.
could,
Tampa Bay could address wide receiver.
yeah.
Dallas could absolutely address wide receiver. So I think if their guy is sitting there, I think a trade back is a legitimate option. I mean, so if we were to play this out a little bit, I mean, 26. I don't think they would. I don't think they would take 60. I think that's too rich.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Probably like 128. 160? Is that enough to move back though? 7
maybe
spots?
they. mm,
Like a future 3?
Yeah, I think that they probably have to give up something in the future. Like maybe it's a future 3. I
Yeah,
don't think they're getting a 2 to move, to move that far.
right.
But 128 in a future 3, that feels about right-ish.
Alright, we'll make it happen here. Alright, so we have Buffalo coming up, and now we have to so who do we want them to take?
All right, I think that it would be man, I think it would be Troy Franklin if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I don't know, what do you think?
I think it'd probably be Xavier Worthy, but I endorse the Troy Franklin. I love Troy Franklin, so I
I mean,
endorse
I
that
guess
pick.
from like thinking from their like front office perspective, it's going to be tough for anybody to pass up on like, you know, that speed from Xavier Worthy, but
Right.
Franklin's no slouch either.
Yeah, I love Franklin.
Um, let's give him Troy Franklin. Let's give him
Alright,
Troy
I'll give him
Franklin.
Troy Franklin. There we go. All right. So Philadelphia, Peyton Wilson. No.
I love, we're gonna, similar to like an edge in Atlanta, we're gonna do first round linebacker every year for the Eagles until they eventually take one in round one. Um,
All right.
man,
I'm gonna go. Oh wait, was that my pick or was that your pick?
I don't know. We kind of
Oh,
we
I think it's your
collaborated
pick.
on
Yeah, because you
21.
picked for Pittsburgh. Okay.
Let's let's go ahead and give the Steelers, or I'm sorry, the Eagles. Got my Pennsylvania teams
Same thing,
confused.
right? Drop it in the
It's all the
comments. Same
same. It's
team,
all the
right?
same. Yeah, they're all the same. Let's give them Jared Verse. All right,
Oh,
they traded Hassan Reddick. I know they signed Bryce Huff, but who knows how long Josh Sweat is for the Eagles? They're always a year early rather than a year late kind of team. I think Jared Verse at 22 is a real good value for a heavy-handed, strong edge.
I like it. I like it. All right. So Minnesota, we had them take offensive line with the first pick. Um, is this simply a situation of best player available?
I think
Um,
I think so.
unless we want to entertain quarterback with pick
We could
23,
talk about it. We could talk
we
about it.
we could talk about it.
Is it Penix? Is
You
it Bo?
uh, you
Is it
you
Spencer
know
Rattler?
the guy who I think an NFL team could convince themselves on. I think I think it could be Spencer Rattler, dude. I really do think that he's a first round tools type player. Everybody thinks Minnesota traded up for this 23 pick to get, up to 4, but what if it was just because they really like one of these quarterbacks? This is my pick, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting reckless, baby. Spencer Rattler. The Vikings fans are going to shred us, and I
Yeah.
encourage you to do it. You got Spencer Rattler and Fuaga. I'm here for
Hey,
it, man.
I kind of am too, honestly.
Okay, serious question. I know we're doing a draft. This is draft focus, but Spencer Rattler throwing the ball to Addison, to Justin Jefferson, to TJ Hawkinson when he's healthy. I mean,
Oh, buddy, I am here for the Spencer Rattler top 12 QB finish. Like,
oh baby, oh baby, you love to see it. And we have a chance, I think, to just be absolutely unhinged from the offensive side here with the Dallas Cowboys, man, pairing up some speed with CeeDee Lamb.
yeah, I mean, there's not a chance in the world that they pass on Xavier Worthy,
Oh
right? Like,
man,
no, there's not a single possibility on planet Earth to me
woo-hoo.
that they pass on Xavier Worthy at 24 if he's there. Come
God,
on, him and CD, that's way too fun. That's way too
oh
fun.
man,
There's
that
other
would.
players that you want to be like, oh man, this player's good and he's still on the board. I don't think there's any way they pass on that Texas kid. I don't think there's any way they pass on Worthy with that kind of speed.
Oh my gosh. I would hate it. It's so good. I would hate it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go Newton here. Fell way too
Yeah.
far. I think he fits it.
Crazy.
Yeah. What were we doing? Bunch of
I
idiots.
know. But
Bunch of,
that's like you could see it, you can almost see it happening.
yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
a guy that every team lets fall way too far.
All right. All right. Tampa Bay. We're nearing the end here. And I will tease out, just the idea that, there could be teams looking to trade up, get that 5th year on the rookie contract as we get to
Very
the back
true.
end here. So Tampa Bay, I think, I think you could give a variety of needs for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think so too. I come back to who I think what I think of Todd Bowles and what I know he wants to do. And I think there's a couple guys at corner that are tough for Todd Bowles to pass up. I'm going to take Cooper DeJean here. I
Okay,
think
you're gonna
that
play him at corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna play him at corner, or
Okay.
I'm gonna expect Todd Bowles to just treat him like almost, Swiss Army-esque, play him at corner, but give him some flexibility, maybe a little bit. I think Bowles would really like to have him in the secondary.
Okay, I could see that for sure. So Arizona, we had them select.
Marv,
It
right?
was Marvin Harrison Jr. early on in this draft. I think we're going to go offensive line here. I do think I mentioned earlier. I think Graham Barton's in play because he gives a little inside outside versatility, which I think Arizona would value. Amarius Mims, of course, is in play. I'm going to go Barton. I think that versatility. You can kind of swing tackle. You could, move him inside. I think he could probably even play center. So, the team like Arizona that just has need, like the need is offensive line. I like Barton's versatility there for them.
Yeah, I like that too. And at 28, I could kind of see Miami at this point. It's hard for me to see them passing on Amarius Mims.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think they could
good
take
value for
Mims
them.
here, and even if they don't have to play him right away, give him a year. I like Mims there with the luxury of maybe some time to acclimate. Tons of upside. That's a tackle prospect worth selecting at 28 every time.
I like it. I like it a lot. I do think it's worth noting that Dan Campbell is absolutely unhinged. And I'm not saying he's going to take Peyton Wilson at 29, but if he takes Peyton Wilson at 29, there will not be a person on this planet who should be surprised. But that being said, I'm going to go defensive back here. I'm going to go Nate Wiggins. I think that they could use that reinforcement in the secondary there. Detroit's drafting at 29 on their own merit. How cool is that?
It is. It is nice to see. Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if they took Peyton Wilson though. That would not shock me.
It could
I think
absolutely happen.
I think Baltimore would be upset to see Nate Wiggins go a pick ahead of them. I think, that would be a nice fit there. And the wide receivers have largely, flown off the board. So I don't know if there's anybody
Is that a
they
Raven
really
pun?
Caw. Uh, I'm gonna take Kool-Aid here. I'm gonna take Kool-Aid McKinstry.
You're like, the Ravens. Why not take a corner?
Why not take an Alabama corner?
Yeah.
Like just why not take a Bama corner?
Why not? San Francisco. I don't want to give them anybody. They don't deserve anybody.
You know?
I think there's a wide receiver to replace Brandon Ayuk. Who said it?
Oh yeah.
Imagine Lad McConkey in San Francisco, though. That would just be.
I would love it so much.
It's so stupid. I want to do it. I think Tyler Guyton is probably a more realistic pick, but I'm going to take Lad McConkey. All right,
yeah, brand.
Lad McConkey. Let's just assume Ayuk stays. Like Debo, McConkey, Ayuk. McConkey eventually replaces Debo because I don't think they're going to want to pay him.
Yeah.
That not the dumbest thing I've said today.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Final pick of the first round, no pressure, but anybody who you do not take with this pick is absolute garbage. So just remember that.
And they're all watching, and they're all going to put me on a list. If
somebody's father is going to be in your DMs.
Joke's on him. I miss my DMs like all the time. Man, it's like chalky and kind of boring to do, but like they got to take a wide receiver eventually, right?
I don't know, man. I think that
not here.
I think they're going to go tackle personally.
Think.
All
right, let's take Tyler.
We can entertain the wide receivers.
I think we picked them over. Like,
yeah,
I love Ricky Pearsall. I love Roman Wilson. They're round 2 guys, though. Like, I don't think that
Javon Baker, do it for the people.
Tez Walker.
No.
I'm gonna take Tyler Guyton. I just a toolsy tackle like that he's gonna go in round 1. He's gonna go in round 1.
I like it there. So the first round here, it's a real nice selection that we have here, Ant, of that full first round. There it is, that full first round here. I like it. I don't want to say it's perfect, but it is. It absolutely is perfect. I don't see how it could really get much better than this at this point in time.
No, it's definitely correct. It's definitely right. No no reaches. Nothing wrong.
No reaches. Spencer Rattler's going at 23. But let us know. Seriously, like I said, we're doing what we think could realistically happen, but putting a little bit of our own oomph on it. And we're doing it for the purpose of discussion, for the purpose of going through the simulation, going through the activity. So definitely drop us a comment. Let us know how you feel about it. And of course, if you watched the whole video, you enjoyed it, you got some entertainment out of it. So go ahead and give it a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Primarily doing fantasy content, but Draft Capital absolutely ties into that fantasy content. Lots of crossover here. We appreciate you jumping on, watching the video all the way through, and of course, enjoying the 100% perfect NFL mock draft.